There we go. Now the settings are right. Good morning, good morning. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Everyone can see my screen. Feel free to let me know in the chat. No, there was not just a news blip. There was economic data that was released. Okay, well, I'm assuming everyone can hear me and see my screen. Nobody has confirmed yet, so I guess I'll just keep on going. Get out of here. Today, we had that initial jobless claims and producer price index all that dropped at 8:30. And that's it as far as economic data for today. Tomorrow we have a little bit more coming out at 8:30 and 10. That import price index and University of Michigan consumer sentiment and 5-year inflation. We did just have that jobless claims and whatnot report. Just shot us up to new highs, already arriving at almost 42.50. Pulling back a little. Let's review. Yesterday we had our CPI data that dropped. ES was hanging out basically near its open. Got up near its burger top. And then that CPI data shot it straight up to our key levels. Come on, Toss, keep up with me. I'll go ahead and turn off the beast tool so we can see the levels a little better. As you can see, we were at that 41.36 when that data got released. It shot us straight up to my key levels above. We slowed down at that daily Keltner, and we faded back to this 41.83. Oh my goodness, what are you doing? There we go. Ran into that Keltner. Couldn't get through it pre-market once, twice, and then cash session could not get through. We had a nice 3-minute squeeze there as well. So there was a short opportunity, but it just got to that next level down to VWAP and a squeeze bottom. I love it when you can stack a few things together to give you something to risk off of. We went long on the 42.20s off of VWAP from about $1.20 to about $5. So it was a nice 4x on that call out. Also the QQQ 325, I think it went 40 cents to about $1.62. Another 4x. So there was basically one good trade yesterday, and then you can see we just got pinned and did not go anywhere, right? Got a nice ramp towards the end of the day that provided some opportunity. But basically, there's not much sentiment to go lower at the moment. CPI data was decent. It showed that inflation remained either unchanged or slightly lower. So good news. Shot us up And we didn't really go anywhere. Overnight, we have gone a little higher and pushed into that economic data release. And apparently, I'd say that reaction was favorable. As we pushed higher, came back, and now bouncing again. So, all signs looking good to the upside. I will say the only unfortunate mess of it, as we know our beast tool, is that we're kind of already arriving at our outer shaded region. Now, obviously, we can go further than that. We did yesterday. We shot past it and stayed up there. We did not come back to it. So, you know, dealing with gapping up kind of near half an ATR. So just saying it might limit us a little to the upside. But we'll see what we get, right? I'm going to go ahead and turn this off, step back out to a higher time frame so we can talk about what to expect for today. Come on, Toss, you are all snappy. I swear it's when I load up the stream it starts to slow. So you can see that we are in a nice up channel that we can kind of use as a guide going into open. We currently do not have any squeezes intact really, except for that 30-minute and 1 hour, but we are already starting to get above that, so that's going to be firing once we open. You know, dealing with a small gap up after a big gap up, we might see a little profit taking a little dip to come close to filling this gap. I'll be watching that trend line if we do come back, and basically that pre-market low right here, which aligns with yesterday's high, right? 42.13, very key. So if we do take a dip, some profit taking and gap fill, I'll be watching for support at that 42.13, 42.20. But if we just keep trucking, the upside targets are 42.60, 42.73, and we can see that that third Keltner to the upside is at 42.80. If we really want to get squirrely and go past that, the next level's above 4,300, and this zone, you know, kind of around 43.20. We also have the daily 200 sitting in that zone. So overall, if we're just going to keep trucking and even blow past third Keltner, it's a mission to get back to that daily 200. And I'll let that load up, because it does look like we have a trend line, but it's going to be from a while ago. No, this isn't the right drawing set, sorry. That trend line actually is up near that 43.50. Basically all I was looking at is it's a trend line from the highs of year, right after the first of the year and in March, connecting those two highs. And it's a little hard to see, sorry. It gives us a trend line that seems to be cutting through right at about 43.50, let's call it. So, if we can actually truck, yeah, that's actually being represented properly. So, just past that daily 200 is a trend line from the highs of this year, from each rally. So, overall, upside targets, not saying we get there today, but if we continue on the trend that we are in, we might get there to complete the journey back to the daily 200. Come on, work with me. There we go. And, you know, we are completely intact on our 4-hour trend. Every time we get near the moving averages pinching together and testing the 45, we move higher. Just like we did on Tuesday. You know, we fade back to that 45. All of the moving averages get tight. We take off again. They spread back out. That daily, that 4-hour 8 MA is catching up to that 42.05 that we kind of chopped around yesterday. So, all things to keep an eye on and to track. If we open and just push to 42.60, might be a potential chance to short back for some retesting. If we open and just dip to 42.20, 42.13, I'll be looking to take longs off of that as support. And it would also be the target if we do catch a short back to it, right? I'd be locking up right around this zone as well. All right, we can move on to NQ now, I believe. NQ, you know, basically the same yesterday. Shot up, faded back to VWAP, came up to key level, and then just kind of sat around that. We pushed higher, and we even came back pre-market to test that level on NQ. I've got quite a few levels that we're starting to arrive back at. In fact, this is a little too crowded. I'm probably going to have to go in and clean that up. Let's see. Yeah, that's a little better. Let's see, we could take a quick pop up to that 531. Maybe give us some resistance to come back and retest this 462. You know, so basically could run in, come back to retest, keep going. If we do start to roll over and give out that 462, I'm going to be looking for that 388, 400 as support. Just like it was pre-market, just like it was resistance yesterday. If we do fade back to it. Let's see. We are at that second Keltner. That third Keltner sits above at about 766, almost 800. Where that next zone sits as well. Let's see, we are up only 100 points on a 300-point ATR. So we could push another couple of hundred, which could get us up there, frankly, to that third Keltner today, if we want to continue higher. If we do hit something and fade back, looking for that 388 to hold. If it starts to give out, back to that, we got these key levels that we might slip back to as well. Just like we saw in the other drawing set, that 388 was resistance, and then we stayed in between these key levels. That's why we try to mark these key levels. So, 531, got to get through that first. Jump back over here just to double check. Yeah, this is a little convoluted. So, 531 first. 635 on our trip up above 700. Ready. And the ready was pretty strong yesterday. Like everything had a dip to VWAP, but instead of running into something and then going sideways, it did slowly grind higher, at least kind of giving us that foreshadowing to say that they are continuing to push things and climb higher in the small caps. Sometimes they, like I've talked about, sometimes the small caps can react first. So it was a good sign, at least for swinging calls, that the ready just kept pumping, even though the other indices, kind of hit a wall and were held back. But they did pretty much open a whole ATR up. So on the ready, damn, we're almost to 2,000. 1900 was a huge level to get through. And you can see now that we've gotten through it, it's just all gas and no brakes. Almost to 2,000, that third Keltner. Kind of the upside target today. Not much further to go. And we got that daily 200 sitting at 2012. We could, thinking a little more long term and not just today, we could see these indices get back to their daily 200, and outside of that third Keltner, we could see them reject and start to come back to the daily 8. That might be something to, a little thesis to keep in the back of your head for next week or the week after. But, yeah, right, D4 is all gas. Just keep on going. YM. YM getting above 33,500 already. Let's see, YM is up about a half ATR. Maybe a little over half. Let's see, take a quick check. Yeah, I'd say kind of YM and Ruddy are leading a little bit to the upside, but the other indices are pretty close as well. So they are pretty much just buying everything. To the upside on YM, we got that third Keltner and daily 200, making a nice little zone and target to get to. Let's see, we still got about 200 points in the tank. We can get there today. Pretty much an ATR, a little over, but definitely feasible. Or, at least we can get there this week if we want. On all these names to test their third Keltner and daily 200. A great target, great spot for us to potentially hit, calm down, and slowly come back to moving averages, but we'll see. Apple, 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 you dog, you're gonna arrive at my zone, aren't you? So on Apple, once we cleared 160, the mission was getting to 170 and this 171, 172 zone. It's a very key zone. I won't waste the time letting the chart load, but if you go back and look on the daily, this is a very key zone. So, upside target getting to that zone. I've got other levels above it on other drawing sets, but frankly, getting there, it's probably going to, we can peek past it, but we will likely start to settle in that zone. Already past third Keltner, already past daily 200, which sits back at 160. So if we start to talk about, running into or past third Keltner and key level we can see that this daily 21 is stepping up this daily 200 right at that 160. We could potentially run into this zone and fade back for a reversion to the mean. I'm not talking about today, maybe next week, maybe the week after that, maybe after the Tesla split, right? But just a scenario to start thinking about. Anytime we get near third Keltner, we should be seeing where the mean is, where it's arriving at a key level. It's about to cross the 21 over the 200. It just creates a potential magnet. Should we start to really show signs of being overbought and start to roll over? AMD. Oh, AMD, key levels are there for a reason, folks. Look at how we opened. A little above this daily 8, and in the middle of this zone from 97 to 99. We reject and fall through what should be support at that 98, 98, and that daily 8, daily Keltner. When you see something hitting those, we expect a bounce there. And when you see it tearing through those, sometimes it's good to just jump into the short, or at least wait for a pullback or pull up, right? We can see it push down, came up, tried to get going, and then completed that journey to that 9607, where it closed that candle, opened the next, and took off, right? So a good opportunity yesterday on AMD to short back and then go long. And very good action off of those key levels, right? So we arrived back to that 96, fought back into our zone. Now we have pushed above it pre-market. If we're going to see a little dip, looking forward to hold that 99.23, 99 should be a little pocket of support. You can see that wick from yesterday, pretty much tagging 99 pre-market, right? So if we do have a little dip, looking for that to hold, but we're already starting to push over 100. With the next target being that 102.5, let's call it, where the second Keltner sits. And if we, look for targets for the rest of the week, it's back to these highs around this 104.5 on our journey to get to that third Keltner at 107. Amazon. I know some folks in the room swung Amazon into that CPI. It's a great play. And a good lock at open because it basically just went sideways. Gapping up with the market and near yesterday's highs, but not through them. If you noticed on like Apple and AMD, they are already above yesterday's highs. Amazon kind of sitting there, kind of close. Upside targets on Amazon, definitely this daily 200 and that third Keltner, making a target up near that 145.5. And if it can actually push past that psych level of 150. If we take a little dip and gap fill on the market, looking for that 142 to hold. It provided a floor all day yesterday. Should we see something like that give out and market give out its support, we're looking to get back to that daily Keltner, that key 140 through that, the daily 8. But everything's looking good to the upside. BA. I need to accelerate through these. I might skip some of these. BA looking strong. I got to take out this 170, 176. And a journey to get up to that 176, that third Keltner. If it comes back, looking for it to hold 168. Should that give out, back to the daily 8 and that Keltner below. Cat. This is how we speed things up. Hoo, cat, look at you. Pretty strong yesterday. Slow grind up. Made it back to that daily 50. Gonna open above it. So if we have a dip, looking for, you know, it'll be stepping down slightly. So yeah, looking for that daily 50 to hold around 190.5. If we have a dip, upside target, that 193.8. Very key level. And then that 196, where that second Keltner sits, and that psych level of 200, very key. That last rally did not quite tap it, stopped 50 cents short, and brought us back to the mean. Slow grind off the mean, but looking pretty decent and strong. So cat could be a good play for the next 2 days, trying to push up to 200. And if it gives out that daily 50, then, you know, probably going to engulf yesterday and get back to 188. Googly moogly. Pretty strong yesterday. Actually tried to push well into midday before finally taking a break. And, you know, it's flexing its wings above 120. Should we have a dip, looking for that overnight low to hold. You know, that 119 at the worst, but 119.3 if we have a dip. To the upside, looking at that third Keltner up, which will likely be stepping up to about 122.5. And that psych level of 120, second Keltner. And that third Keltner up slightly above 125 psych level. So upside targets. If we start to give out 119, 118, 117, where that daily 8 is. GS. Pretty damn strong yesterday. Got above that daily 200. So if we start to roll over and take a dip, looking for 348 to hold, if that gives out, straight back to the 200. And yeah, we are north of 350. I don't have an updated drawing set, so I'll have to grab some levels for us. But, you know, if we can keep pushing past that pre-market high, basically 355, 360, next key levels. Let's just skip to like meta. You know, ran up on that CPI data, but didn't really do much past that. And like Google, still below the second and third Keltners. So targets to the upside, getting to this daily squeeze in this second Keltner around 184. If it can get going past that, to that third Keltner around 192. And that daily 200 is probably way above at 240, yeah. Psych level of 200. If we start to give out 177 or 175, back to moving averages. Microsoft. Oh, Microsoft. What were we? We were talking about the 280s on Tuesday. Now she's pushing 290. Ugh. Upside target, pretty clear. That third Keltner. and that daily 200, which are right on top of each other, right around 294.75, call it 295. That's your upside target. If we start to give out 288, 285, and then the daily 8 back at 282. Netflix. Speed round. Let's go. Netflix, crazy strong yesterday. Got that gap up and it just kept going. And pushing almost to 250, setting new highs pre-market. We have that third Keltner likely going to be stepping up a hair above 250. So upside targets that 250, probably 252, 255. If we start to give out 242, then likely back to that second Keltner, which will be around 240. We've got quite a distance back to that daily 8. But long consolidation, big old break, came back to test, breaking higher. This thing can keep trucking. NVIDIA, do they report next week or the week after? No, week after. Even though they did sort of release earnings already, starting to make a nice bounce off that daily 50, back through the mean at the daily 8. So, could be a decent catch-up trade. Upside targets getting back to that second Keltner, around 185.5. Third Keltner back up where we were before those numbers came out early. And, if things start to roll over, then it's probably coming back to this daily 8, daily 15. Should give that out back to the daily 21. Oh no, don't freeze on me. Come on. QQQ. Oh. So we'll wait. There we go. Now it's coming. Oh, Q's. Yeah, we hit those 325s yesterday on the dip to 322. Loaded up the 325s, got them in the money, locked them all up at the top of the squeeze, and glad we did because it just sat. At least on Q's, our 1 hour is still intact. It's fired for NQ, but on QQQ we're still right at it. So let's see if we push through this 1 hour squeeze quickly at open. First target that 330 outside of it. If we can't get through this squeeze top and we come back a little, definitely looking for that 326 to hold. At the worst, that 325, which would be back to this consolidation and filling the gap in the bottom of this 1 hour squeeze. Should either of those things start to give out, then it's likely back to that 322 low from yesterday. Should that give out, 320, where that daily 8 is probably stepping up to. To the upside, if we can get through 330, that third Keltner is probably going to be stepping up to about 334 with that psych level of 335. And that daily 200 sits up at our next key level, 343. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to skip some of these. I mean, you know, Roku's been making decent moves, but now it's, could be a decent trade actually. Roku clearing that daily 21, shooting through that 83, could propel it quickly up to that daily 50. At the top of the squeeze at 86, with the goal of getting to the first Keltner up at 90. And I'll cover shop, and then we're going to skip on down to the rest. Shop decently strong over that 40 to the upside. You know, looking to get to that third Keltner, which will be around that 44, a psych level of 45. I'm sorry, second Keltner. Past that, we got third Keltner, and that 200 is probably way off for shop. Yeah, up at 80. So has to take out the 43. Like I said, highs from this week. If we can get through that, could get trucking higher. SPX. Going to be gapping up 30 points. Going to be near 40.40. Got a key level at that 42.34 and 42.18. So if we do see a dip to come back and potentially fill gap, have a couple of key levels there that we could bounce before we completely fill the gap. To the upside. We've got that third Keltner, which will be likely stepping up around that 42.60. If we can get going through that, 4,300 and that daily 200 at 43.32. If we give out that 42.18 and completely fill the gap, we and things roll over completely, likely coming back to test these levels that we were at yesterday and held pretty decent. And those levels were a great little guide for, going long. Like we saw in ES, it arrived at a daily Keltner, at a squeeze bottom, yada yada. There was like 3 things that aligned. On SPX, we had this key level, that daily Keltner, and that squeeze top. Provided that very nice long. SPY, and then Tesla and VIX, and we'll wrap this up. We got 15 minutes left, y'all. Oh my, just as it could be predicted, after we got through the level that was resistance yesterday overnight and held it, we push right up to the next key zone that we are arriving at. Not surprised to see it hit and pull back before open. Let's see if that 422.8 can hold. Push us through that high. Look at that, off by like 4 cents. I was off by 4 cents a couple of days ago. Upside targets, 426.36, 428.86, and that daily 200 getting right near our 431.54. Very key levels on SPY. Please mark them on your chart. You'll thank me later. If we start to give out that 422.8, looking for the retest of some of those highs pre-market. Should those give out, then we'll be testing the lows and gap fill and back to that 419.6. Should that give out, back to this zone and that daily Keltner. And you probably know what I'm going to say. If those give out, we've got our key levels Daily 8 will be stepping up near that 414, which is very key. But let's see if we can truck on up to that daily 200. Let's see, closed, call it 420 on a 6-point ATR. Probably a 2-day journey to get up there, right? Basically hitting this level will be an ATR today. Tesla. Tesla. Called out yesterday that 855 should hold, should be a good spot to go long. That proved to be true. Bad boy pushed all the way up to 880. And I think I called that out. Yeah, because it was kind of where it rejected late day. I mean, you can basically look at this wick and you can see this wick, right? So that's what told me at least that that was a good spot to try to go long off of us hitting, basically where we got through to VWAP and rejected back down. That should become support. That's what we got. Nice move higher. Knocking on the door of 890. And 900 sits up at the top of this squeeze. Is that a 4-hour? It is a 4-hour. So we do have some squeezes that have popped in on Tesla after pretty much going sideways, being below 900. Let's see if it can start to push into these squeeze tops, get north of 900. Test that daily 200 again at 910. Through that 918, 930. But if it rejects squeeze tops and rejects 900, likely coming back to 880. And if that gives out 865. And VIX finally below 20. Me oh my. After that CPI finally just gave out, we are below 20. So if we are going to roll over and potentially fill some gap, we're going to see VIX come up to test 20, potentially even get through it to 20.5. And if we're really going to roll over, then it's going to shoot back up to 21 and this daily 8. But if we're going to get some good upside continuation, we should continue to reject 20, start to head lower, 19.5, where that second Keltner sits. And the overall goal of getting to 18. 18 is a very key level. That third Keltner sits there as well. So if we're going to get continuation to the upside, you're going to see us stay under 20, take out 19.5 to the downside with a goal of getting to 18. Hopefully this is helpful for everybody. Good luck today. It's Thursday. It's free day where we bring our entire paid service into the free section. So if you're new to predicted trades and you're not even in our server yet, go to our website or the description of this YouTube. You can find a link to join our server. And on Thursdays, you get to test out our tools for free and get a taste of what it's like to be in our paid service. So we'll see everybody in chat today. I'm going to get in there and drop all the beast tools right now. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you guys in the chat.